They're calling her the Real-Life Black Swan. Ashley Benefield shot and killed her husband in September 2020, just as they were building a new life together. Now, she claims it was self-defense, but the prosecution is calling it murder. So, did their toxic relationship simply end in tragedy, or did she want to kill him all along? I'm Amy. Let's recap. Guns, God, and Donald Trump. For Doug and Ashley Benefield, it's the holy trinity of love. Now, Doug is a 59-year-old Navy veteran and entrepreneur. He's recently widowed and he's got a lot of cash to his name. And then there's Ashley, a 28-year-old ballerina and aspiring model. Now, some say she's a master manipulator. Together, they want to turn the cutthroat world of ballet into an inclusive space for all shapes, sizes, and colors. But the money dries up, tensions flare, and the bullets start flying. On September 27, 2020, the cops are called out to Lakewood Ranch. It's a small town about 50 miles south of Tampa, Florida. A man has called the police, saying his neighbor has just run over and knocked frantically on his door. Now, she's in hysterics, claiming she just shot her husband in self-defense. There's a U-Haul parked outside her house. By all accounts, they're getting ready to move. Now, Doug's bleeding out on the bedroom floor. He's still alive when the police find him. He can't talk, but he dies in the hospital about an hour later. Oh, Ashley claims he attacked her. They were moving to Maryland to restart their lives, only this couple was planning to stay in separate houses. Now, Doug allegedly didn't want that. He wanted them to be a family, and he was sick of Ashley keeping him from seeing their 2-year-old daughter. He snaps and she opens fire. At least that's how the story goes. Now, 6 weeks later, the sheriff's office issues an arrest warrant for Ashley Benefield. Her story isn't adding up, and now she's looking at second-degree murder. Did she kill Doug in self-defense, or did she just plain kill him? Their story begins in the summer of 2016. Republican presidential candidate Ben Carson has just ended his campaign after a series of poor primary and debate performances. There's just no beating Donald Trump. At the time, 24-year-old Ashley Byers is working for the Trump campaign. She's been traveling the country, going to rallies after her ballerina dreams pirouetted away. Now, meanwhile, 54-year-old Doug Benefield is a wealthy benefactor to many Republican candidates like Ben Carson. He's a handsome, religious man who aspires to be Christ-like, according to a couple's journal he and Ashley ended up keeping together. So the two meet at Ben Carson's home in Palm Beach at a post-campaign dinner. According to Ashley, they started talking. They never stopped. They bonded over God, Donald Trump, and the Second Amendment. It was love at first sight. Now, that was August 25th, 2016. By the 26th, Ashley's calling Doug my dear and praising God for bringing them together. Now, Doug is just as smitten with her as she is with him. He especially likes how she kept this tiny pistol tucked into her bra strap at the party, like some kind of secret agent. But their blossoming love will have to wait. Doug is flying to Israel on the 27th for a long work trip. Now, while he's away, they text nonstop. These two are like love-drunk teenagers in a Lifetime movie. Sappy, get out of here. That doesn't even begin to cover it. She texts him things like, "Are you always this sweet and awesome?" And he's like, "Always, except when shooting something." So they exchange Bible verses and they chat about their favorite music. She's a country girl with a taste for classical. He's into Sinatra and what he calls praise music. By September 1st, Ashley and Doug are already swapping I love yous. But Doug, being a good Christian man, refuses to sleep with Ashley until they're married. And so they get married 13 days after meeting at Ben Carson's party. Now, as you can imagine, Doug's 15-year-old daughter, Eva, she's got something to say about that. Now let's travel back to December 2nd, 2015, 9 months before Doug and Ashley's wedding. Renee Benefield, Doug's second wife, was by all means healthy. She was an athletic 56-year-old woman who suddenly dies of heart failure in the family home in Charleston, South Carolina. According to CBS, Eva's the one who came home to find her mother's body. Until then, Doug and Eva hadn't really been that close, but after Renee's sudden, seemingly random death, the two became inseparable. Eva tells Doug everything: high school drama, boy problems, that he is her best friend. And then, 9 months after her mother's death, Ashley comes in like a bat out of hell, moves right into the family home in Mount Pleasant, a small suburb of Charleston. To Eva, it feels like Ashley's taking her best friend away at a time when she needs him most. At first, Ashley tries to connect with Eva. After all, she's closer to her age than she is to Doug's. They go shopping, she tries to bond with her over houseplants. She even shows Eva clips from the good old days when Ashley was an aspiring ballerina. She started training at 8 years old and even dropped out of high school to chase her dreams. But at 5'9", Ashley was considered too tall for the really good roles. So she started teaching children's dance classes and sewing costumes on the side. She also tried her hand at modeling, but that didn't work out either. But above all else, Ashley wanted a family. She wanted to be a wife and a mother. So she begged God to send her that special man He'd chosen for her. And that man was Donald Trump. According to Ashley, she met Donald Trump at a campaign event. She'd been following him for years, so it's not clear how they officially met, but she claims he admired her patriotism and offered her a job on the spot. Now, before long, Ashley's jet-setting around the country on the Donald's campaign plane. She's staying at Mar-a-Lago and writing in her diary about how smitten she is. Now, one time, Trump asked her opinion about what tie he should wear. Her diary heard a lot about that day. He also allegedly called her a bombshell in a phone conversation and said he would hire her for sure when he got to the White House. But when someone showed him a picture of Ashley Benefield, Trump said, "I have no idea who this person is." So that's either classic Trump or classic Ashley. I'll let you decide. Doug Benefield also has a knack for reinventing himself. He started business after business. One day he owns a restaurant, the next he's a venture capitalist, and then he decides to open a ballet company. So Ashley and Doug are newlyweds, still getting to know each other when American National Ballet, or ANB, is born. Now, ANB wants to change the world of dance. Doug and Ashley will only hire racially diverse or physically unconventional dancers to headline their performances. Now, for many dancers, it's a dream come true. ANB launches in 2017. Doug suggests they open up shop in their backyard, Charleston, South Carolina. Over 4 dozen dancers moved to the city, ready to chase their dreams. Some have passed up other gigs to be a part of ANB. Others come from as far away as Germany and Brazil. Now, there's supposedly a $2.5 million budget. The dancers move into these swanky apartments with free tanning beds, flat screen TVs. A&B is going to build a dance studio in the building. There's even talk of a reality TV show. Sadly, none of it comes true. About a month later, after uprooting their lives and moving to Charleston, 47 dancers meet in a small studio and are asked to sign an NDA. They're told there's big news on the other side, but all they have to do is sign in order to hear it. Except the big news is that half of them are getting fired. So where's Ashley during this fiasco? Well, she's pregnant. Things aren't going great. She's feeling really sick. It's a really rocky pregnancy. So she's staying with her mother in Florida so her mom can take care of her. But that's just one problem. She also has a feeling Eva resents her. Her suspicions are confirmed in June of 2017 when Ashley reads Eva's diary. In it, she writes how much she hates her new stepmom. I mean, is it any wonder? You read the girl's diary. But this sparks a fight between Ashley and Doug, at which point Doug allegedly hits the family dog, then grabs a pistol and throws it against the wall. The fight escalates from there. That's when Doug grabs the gun and fires into the ceiling, a fact he's since admitted to. Now that's the beginning of the end, but Ashley paints on a smile during a wedding reception they threw for themselves a few days after the whole ceiling incident. In an interview with Vanity Fair, Ashley says, "I'm a ballet dancer. I can look happy no matter what's going on in my life. I put on one hell of a show." But she can't keep it up for long. On September 18th, the day A&B is supposed to launch, Ashley drives up from Florida, knowing that Doug is going to be busy with this whole dance company launch thing. So she comes up from Florida, she packs her things, and she moves to her mom's place permanently. She leaves Doug a 4-page breakup letter with like 21 bullet points listing everything wrong with him. One reads, "You yell, you scream, you cuss at me." Another says, "You've thrown and broken things, even a loaded gun, which left a giant hole in the wall." It ends with her telling Doug not to harass, follow, or contact her or her mother. In late October, shortly after the total collapse of the ballet company, Ashley begins complaining about sharp pains in her chest and stomach. doctors, medications, nothing seems to work. So she sends a lock of her hair to a lab called the Carlson Company. According to them, Ashley isn't sick. She's been poisoned. They detected dangerous levels of cobalt, zinc, aluminum, and barium in her sample. Now, somebody's trying to kill her, and the only somebody Ashley can think of is Doug. Now, Ashley's remembering all the hot, sweet tea he made her in the mornings. She thought about his wife, Renee, and how she died of an undiagnosed heart ailment. Could Doug have killed her too? Ashley is apparently the only one who thinks so. Her daughter is born in secret in March of 2018. Now, Ashley never tells Doug, and she does everything she can to keep the child from him. He, of course, finds out eventually. So during a custody hearing in Florida, the judge says there isn't a single scintilla of credible evidence that Ms. Benefield has ever been poisoned. Because it turns out the Carlson Company doesn't always have the best track record when it comes to credible results. So the judge rules that Ashley and Doug have to share joint custody of their daughter. Well, girl, their relationship goes up and down from here. Now, Ashley goes back to Charleston, then they split again, then they make up, then it's bad again. According to Eva, Ashley eventually moves back to Florida to live with her mother, for good. But Doug follows. He rents a small apartment nearby in hopes of giving their daughter a good life. Meanwhile, Eva stays behind in Charleston. In November 2018, Ashley and Doug start going to a marriage counselor. They meet regularly for 1 year, at which point the doctor discovers that Doug is secretly recording their sessions. So she terminates the couple's therapy, but she continues seeing Ashley. It turns out Doug is also growing suspicious of Ashley day by day. He allegedly puts a tracker in her car and hires a private eye to follow her around. And according to the PI, Ashley's cheating. Well, this time, Doug wants out, and Ashley's the one begging for another chance. In May of 2020, 2 months into the COVID lockdowns, Ashley comes up with this great idea. They should move to Maryland for a fresh start. They can reinvent themselves after the collapse of the dance company. They can work on their relationship. They can build a stable home for their now 2-year-old daughter. Well, it takes some convincing, but Doug finally agrees. He rents a U-Haul and he drives to help Ashley move some things out of her mother's house. Here's what happens next, according to Ashley. On the night of September 27th, 2020, Doug and Ashley are alone in her mother's house packing up moving boxes. Her mom and her daughter are gone. They have a custody hearing coming up in 3 days and they plan to be there through Zoom. But here's the kicker. At the hearing, a psychologist's evaluations of Ashley and Doug are going to be released. These reports show that they're thinking two very different things. Ashley has no interest in reconciling, while Doug doesn't believe in divorce. But they'll never make it to the hearing. As they're packing up the house, Ashley says that Doug gets angry. He accuses her of trying to divide the family, even though they're moving to Maryland together. But he's like, "You need to be a better wife." Allegedly. And he allegedly shoves a moving box into her side, leaving her with a small scratch. Now, she tries to leave, but he won't let her. So she tries to force him to leave the house, and he refuses. Doug then allegedly punches Ashley in the side of the head. She runs to a bedroom, grabs a pistol, and aims it at Doug when he follows her into the room. He makes like he's going to hit her again, at which point Ashley fires 4 times, hitting Doug twice in the leg and arm. And then she runs to the neighbors, screaming for help. Her lawyer is already there when the police arrive. She never answers any questions, and she refuses to make an official statement. Police photograph her, and the only injury they document is the tiny scratch on her stomach. According to one witness, though, Ashley actually got that scratch the day before the shooting when someone else bumped into her with a box. Meanwhile, first responders work on saving Doug's life. One bullet went through his outer right thigh and out the inner thigh. The other passed through his right arm and into his chest cavity. Now, this told police one crucial fact. Doug was not facing Ashley when she shot him. According to them, it doesn't look like he took any kind of defensive or combative stance. So Ashley was arrested 6 weeks later for the second-degree murder of Doug Benefield. According to the affidavit, she tried everything possible to keep Doug away from their baby girl. But when all else failed, she took matters into her own hands. She posted her $100,000 bond and has spent the past 4 years wearing an ankle monitor and living under a court-issued curfew. In February of 2023, Ashley's defense team filed a 105-page motion for dismissal citing self-defense and Florida's Stand Your Ground laws. They told Ashley's version of the story, the one you just heard, and cited past court records of Doug's temper. In their filing, they showed a picture of Ashley with a black eye that was allegedly taken from the night of the shooting. But should we do also a quick review of Florida's Stand Your Ground law? Is basically, you can kill someone if it comes down to your life or theirs. But the judge refused to dismiss. He doesn't think that her case meets the standards of Stand Your Ground. So we're gonna see. Her murder trial is set to begin in late July of 2024. Last we heard, she plans on using the battered-spouse syndrome defense, claiming that Doug's behavior led to his own death. As for Eva, she's taken to TikTok to express her feelings about the whole situation. She's another victim in this story, having lost both her mother and her father in the span of 4 crazy years. Every morning, Doug would text her with a new Bible verse. She'd call him when she woke up and they'd have their daily chat. But on the morning of September 28, 2020, Eva never got her Bible verse. Instead, her uncle calls with heartbreaking news. Allegedly, the first question out of her mouth, did she kill him? For now, the Real-Life Black Swan has people divided. So what do you think? Did she shoot Doug in self-defense? Or did she manipulate him, use him, then kill him when she was done? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you like getting all the crime in half the time, give this a like and remember to subscribe so you never miss a recap. Chris and I are here 3 times a week. See you soon.